Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I'm coming to you from a totally different place. I'm in my living room today. I had just a simple outpatient procedure on my left leg yesterday, but I have stitches and I'm not allowed to go up and down stairs for a few days. So I have my stitching spot here on the couch and I have been stitching. I started stitching day before yesterday on a piece, and I thought I'm going to put in some extra stitches on this and push it closer to a finish. And I did. And then I stitched on some other things, and then this was still sitting there on my desk, and I picked it up day before yesterday when I got home from the outpatient surgery and I was situated here on the couch. I just picked it up and started stitching, and I stitched 1,265 stitches yesterday on this thing. And then I put it away. I just put it on the table. This morning when I got up and I decided to stitch a little bit longer, I thought, I don't have that much more left to go. If I worked on it today, I think I could finish it. So I put in 1,764 stitches today. So that tells you I've been putting in a lot of stitches in this, but I am excited to share it with you. This is my In All Things, Be Exceedingly Diligent. And I'm sorry I don't have a board long enough to put behind it to keep it from you seeing through it, but there it is. Now this is the pattern, that I had to shorten a little bit because I just didn't have a piece of fabric wide enough. This was the only piece I had long enough. And so I had to work with the width that I had. So I did leave out two of the alphabets, one of the real tall ones, and then one that was printed. I wanted the cursive one in there. And other than that, that's all I took out at the top, but that crunched this section that I had to work in. So what I did, this on the original piece had two houses and all these motifs in it. And I decided that because a lot of these motifs that are larger were up near the top when I had a lot of room in the original pattern, I had to push them down into the main layout. So I decided in order to get everything in there, to really get the flavor of the piece, I needed to leave out one house since I already had a house. Now, in the original, this house is done in a white like this, like the swan. It's in an off-white. But I decided since I was going to eliminate the darker house of the two, that I would turn this one into a darker house. And I chose my own colors. It was in the color palette, but I chose this color, which is in the flowers over here in the little flower bowl. I chose it there, and then I blended it for the front to be a little bit lighter, to give it a little dimension, that this is the back side or the side of the house, and this is the front of the house. So made that look a little different. And I'm so happy with the darker color. I like it a lot better. I don't think I would have enjoyed it being that pale color for the house. So the only motif or two that I left out, there was a bumblebee, but the bumblebee was actually as large as the bee scap. And I thought, that bee couldn't get in that bee scap. So I didn't do the bumblebee. I don't particularly like bees in real life. I'm allergic to them. So I put the bee scap there and didn't put the bee on. And I think I left out one of these little doodads, that was fairly large. I didn't have room for it anywhere. So only two things I had to really get rid of other than one house, because I used the space in here that would have been the house to move all the stuff from the top down to here. But I like it because I got the swan in, which I loved. I've got him swimming in the lake. I've got him, got the little trees and the plants around him. Got your little squirrel and rabbit and the bird. I did change the color on the bird. I made it blue. I liked it better than a brownie color. So that was about all I changed. This leaving out 2 alphabets is the only difference over here. And then I just rearranged where some of these motifs fell when I had to make them fit. And it still has a house on it, so I think that's good enough. I like it, and it is the exact same length. It's as wide as it's supposed to be. It's just not as tall as it's supposed to be. So, anyway, I finished it, and I am delighted that I did. So now I'm about to have a Zoom call with a friend of mine from Canada, my friend Marissa. We're going to stitch and talk together. And then I hope that I'll have something more to share with you either later this evening or maybe tomorrow in the stitching that I'm working on today. So until we speak again, happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Sorry about the crazy light. I'm in my living room downstairs in my stitching corner. And I just wanted to let you know today's the last day of February and I eked out another finish. I'm so tickled. I pulled out my Home Love Family, and I'm going to put something behind it in hopes that you can see it better. There you go. And finished it. I've been working on it for 2 days. I put a great number of stitches in it. When I picked this up to start working on it, I was working on the stonework at the bottom of the house. So that is what I had done, the top of the house. So I've done all of this in the last 2 days, but it's a quick stitch. And once you get that house done, it's a very quick stitch. But I am thrilled to death that I got it finished. I was working on it today while I was doing the Zoom call with the monthly magazine challenge group. And Candy said, "Oh, you've gotten a lot of work on that." And I said, "Yeah, I have." Because I had been stitching on it monogamously for 2 days. And I got it finished. So I am thrilled to death. So in the last few days, I have finished 2 pieces. In All Things Be Exceedingly Diligent, and now this one, Love Family Home, and I am tickled to death to have them done. So, there you go. That's been my stitching for 2 days. Now, I am going to start looking at my calendar. Tomorrow's the 1st. My bingo call is for Whip of Choice, which is great. So I can pretty much do what I want to do to start working on either my British Bake Off stitching or my bingo stitching, which I need to do, or even a whip goat piece would be fine. Plus, at the beginning of the month, I have all my cross sticks to stitch on, and I have my Determined Stitcher group goals that I published in that group that I need to work on. So it'll be fun. I'm excited. I am pleased that I was able to take the end of the month and get 2 finishes knocked out, which are good. Of course, they're both, well, In All Things Be Exceedingly Diligent wasn't a real small. It was a very long piece. But the Home Love Family is a fairly small piece. I would call it a medium piece. But it was good to get them both finished and get them out of my whip count for the end of the month. So that's great. Anyway, I'm not going to record long. I just wanted to share my finish with you and say I hope you've had a great February. And here's to March. Happy stitching, y'all. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina, and this is my channel about cross stitch, and I am coming to you tonight to tell you about my stitching today. It's March 1st, and so all the new things begin. I'm so excited. And as it turned out, I had a Zoom call tonight with my planning friends, Lori from Once Upon a Stitch, Dee, Abrams, and my friend Donna. And we had a great time talking about what we were going to stitch on for our cross sticks, for Whip Go for the month, and our Great British Bake Off stitching. Unfortunately, our friend Dee has been very under the weather and hasn't been able to stitch for a couple of weeks. And so she's not going to try to catch up everything for the Great British Bake Off this time. She's going to let it fall by the wayside. But my friend Donna has caught up, and Lori and I are still forging ahead. So we're still going strong. But today's stitching for me was easy because my bingo call was whip of choice. So I thought, this is great. I'm going to look at something I need to do that's either only on one acrostic or is a monthly requirement that I don't have an acrostic, so that I can make it count for two things. And as it turned out, my Glendon Place Woodland Wonder is on my monthly requirement to do a section of this piece. I had divided it up into sections, and this month's section was the bottom of this tree. So I was to finish the tree, not the beading, but the stitching. And so I am ecstatic to tell you that 374 stitches, and I have finished the tree. So now that gives you the height of the piece, because that's as tall as it's going to be. So the next section that I'll start working on is the top half of the deer. And that will be next month, unless I decide for some reason to pick it up and stitch on it again. But this is not in an acrostic this month, because I had put this as a monthly requirement to do a section every month. I'm not making myself put it into the acrostics because I'm going to be touching it anyway. So let's talk about what's coming up ahead. Tonight, while we were Zooming, after we talked about all of our planning, I pulled out America and I finished the letter A. And then the number came out for bingo tomorrow. And my number for tomorrow is actually to work on a whip go call. So I checked my whip go numbers right away, and one of them was to work on a patriotic whip. So I said, stop. I did that letter A, and that was about 164 stitches, I guess, something like that. But I need 300 stitches in that piece for whip go. And since it's called tomorrow for a whip go piece, I'm just going to leave it out, and I'm going to pick it up in the morning, and I'm going to stitch on it until I finish at least 300 stitches, because that'll give me more than enough for my bingo, and it will hit one of my whip go calls. So wouldn't that be exciting? On the 1st of March, finish one of my monthly requirements, and on the 2nd of March to hit a whip go requirement. This month's getting off to a great start. I'm excited about it. And that's good, because I have lots of starts for this month. Somehow I have put on my schedule that I am to do the 2 patriotic starts. I'm supposed to do a St. Patrick's Day start, and I had agreed to start something for Carolyn's birthday. Hadn't planned on that up front. And so I'd also like to do something for St. Patty's Day. Lots of starts coming up, aren't there? Anyway, so if I can hit some of these goals early in the month like that, it's doable. It's absolutely doable. So that's the stitching for today. Spent a good deal of the day working on the Woodland Wonder. Of course, it was Sunday, so we, church and then lunch together, and walking Cocoa, and then Zooming tonight. So I'm ecstatic that I actually got to hit one of my big goals today with such a busy day. So I look forward to tomorrow on the 2nd to get up and get started on my America. See if I can't knock out that whip go call and meet my bingo call with it at the same time. That'll be awesome. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great day of stitching. Happy stitching, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is the 2nd of March, and I am here to let you know Coco and I have had a great walk this morning, and I've been stitching. I did exactly what I had planned to do. I grabbed my America from Rovaris, and I had finished that last letter of A yesterday, just in stitching with my Zoom call, and I decided to go ahead and stitch more on it to meet my requirement for my bingo today. And since this was a whip go call to stitch on a patriotic stitch, I wanted to get at least 300 stitches in it so that I could count it for whip go. So I am delighted to let you know that all total, I put in 500 stitches, which all of that counts for whip go because I don't have to just do it on a particular day. I did it March 1st and 2nd. So that's plenty more than the 100 I needed today for bingo because I had only 167 that I stitched yesterday. So that leaves well over 100 for today for bingo. So I can post it for my bingo. But 500 stitches in America. Let me show you where I got to. Put the bag behind it, hopefully help with the see-throughness of the fabric because I'm under such a bright light here in the living room. But that's what it's looking like. I got all the wood done on the bottom of the ship. Now I've got a few pieces of the masts to stitch between the sails when I get to the sails, and I've got the water to do at the bottom. But I'm almost close to a finish on this one. In fact, if I get a bingo call close to a finish, this is the one I probably will pull out and work on. But I'm excited about it. It's getting very, very close to being completed, and I really like it. I think it's turned out quite nicely. So that's my stitching so far today. So the next thing I want to tackle is my GBBO stitching, my Great British Bake Off stitching. And I've got quite a bit to do in there. So I can just pick one and work my way through those, and hopefully I'll get 2 or 3 of them done today. I would like to anyway. We will see. I'm doing very well with my recovery. It's been a very, very easy recovery. And so my husband and I are talking about maybe taking an adventure out today and having lunch together. I would love to do that. Just kind of get out of the 4 walls, you know, and go outside a little bit. So I'll let you know how that goes. But in the meantime, I'm just going to get back to stitching. I think I'm on a roll today, watching FlossTube. It's so neat watching FlossTube on the big TV. I usually watch it on my computer upstairs, my desktop. And that's a big screen, but not as big as this TV, except I can't comment. So I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to make notes that I can go back and talk to people. But anyway, gonna get busy stitching, and hopefully we'll have more to share with you later. Happy stitching, everybody. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's a little bit later on today on the 2nd of March, and I have the first of my Great British Bake Off stitching accomplished, and I thought I'd share it with you. So I decided to start on this one, Santa's Workshop. I had to do 125 stitches on this. No, 150 stitches on it because got a handshake. This was for Jurgen, and Jurgen is the one that I paired with Santa's Workshop. And since he got a handshake, I had to do the 150 stitches today. So I did more than that. I wound up doing 225 stitches because I decided today I wanted to finish a little part of it. So I did his boot, his whole boot. I had just one color of shading at the very tip top when I got started, and now I have finished the boot. So I'm thrilled to have that much done. and that more than met the requirement for my British Bake Off. And as it turned out, I used this one for, just remembered I hadn't taken a picture yet. I used this one for both my monthly magazine challenge and for my 24 hours of cross stitch acrostic. So I got two I can post it for in addition to the Great British Bake Off. So that's a really good accomplishment. I'm happy about that. Well, I'm going to go have lunch with my husband here in a second. He had physical therapy this morning, and then he took a run, and he's about to be home. So I'm going to get that ready, and hopefully right afterwards we'll get back to stitching with you. I would love it if I could come back again later and share with you more stitching from today. So in the meantime, until I can, or if I can, happy stitching to you. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Gina. It is the 3rd of March, and I'm here to let you know a little bit about how my stitching is going. I started off this morning working back again on my Great British Bake Off stitching first. And today's GBBO stitching began with Peace on Earth. This is the Three Wise Men, or The Wise Men, I think is the name of it. I had to do 50 stitches in it because the person affiliated with this piece had gotten last in technical. So let me show you what I did. First, if you recall, if you've seen this before, I had to frog these green stitches. I had put them, instead of under this part of his sleeve, I had put them under this part of his sleeve. So I had to frog all that out, and I had to restitch it. So I counted the restitching of that. And then while I had all these green colors out, I went up here, and it's hard for you to see, but I did put in some of those green colors on up in here into his cloak. So I wound up getting 64 stitches in, which is more than the 50 that I had to have for that one. And I intend on keeping it right here next to me, and I intend on going back to it pretty quickly, because one of my monthly goals is to get 500 stitches on that this month. So I didn't want to put it away. So I still have it right here, handy, so that I can pull it back out and continue going on with 40 something stitches more, pardon the zip, with that one. But then I wanted to go hit another British Bake Off stitching. So as it turned out, I had one that worked. My bingo call for today was actually a whip go call. Now, this is funny. I put whip go call on my bingo board twice, and what happens? It gets called on the 2nd, and it gets called on the 3rd. Those two numbers got called back to back. That was funny to me. So anyway, a whip go call that I had for this month, I've used once already, and I have one that I don't have downstairs with me. And as I've mentioned before, I had a little procedure done, and I can't do stairs until I get my stitches out of my legs, so I couldn't go up and get it. So I checked my whip go calls so far this year, and one of them was a birthday start, and that was Let Love Rain, and that's what I stitched for it. So today I pulled out my Let Love Rain, and when I got about 120 stitches in it, because bingo is 100 stitches, I went ahead and I took a picture of it, and I'll show you what I got done. I finished this alphabet. I added the 2026 because that's the year I'm going to finish it. And I think that's great because we were established in 1976, and this is the 50th anniversary of that. And I actually took out a bunch of stitches in here because I had been trying to finagle that corner, and I didn't like the way it looked. And so I took them out and I readjusted them again, and I like the way it looks a lot better. So I had a few little stitches that I put back in there, but the bulk of it was over here. And I had more than 100 anyway. So there you go. That's what I was doing. Now, on my Great British Bake Off stitching though, I had to get 225 stitches. So I'm still going on this one. And I need to get at least 225 for my GBBO game. And then guess what? I think this one is on my acrostic for the daily 30 group, if I'm not mistaken, and that requires 300 stitches. So guess what? I got to keep going on this one till I hit 300. So since I have already got it on my stand and got everything situated, I think I'm just going to keep stitching on it today. I do have a Zoom call tonight with some stitching friends, and I'll just keep pulling away at it and stitch on it while we're talking. So I'll work on this probably the rest of the day. I'd be surprised if I don't. But anyway, I'm excited that I got my corner a little better. I think it looks a lot better, looks a little more uniform, and got the alphabet finished and got the year in there. So now I'm just trying to finish that row across, and then I can finish the bottom border and I'll be through with her. I think that'll be great. Can't wait to see how far I get on her. Hopefully I can share that with you tomorrow morning, because I'll stitch tonight till we finish talking and it might be too late to record. But I have a friend coming to stitch with me tomorrow. My friend Juliana has been off on a cruise, and she got home today and she called and she asked if I wanted to get together and stitch this week. And I said, of course, of course. So this week, as luck would have it, the date that works out the best for the two of us is tomorrow. And so Juliana has an appointment in the morning, and after she's finished with her appointment, she's going to come by over here. We will go to lunch together, and then we will stitch together, and I think that'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. So I appreciate you letting me just hang out here on the couch and talk with you. I know the lighting is horrible. I look like I've got a spotlight on my head, and I do, because that's my bright light sitting up there over my stitching. But it's where I'm at. It's what I got to do right now. And but I will say that I have been recovering beautifully. I'm not in any discomfort, and just trying to be mindful of what they've told me to do. No bending, no stooping, no stairs. You know, make sure you get all your stitches out before you start putting a lot of pressure on your leg. And they just don't want me to bleed. And so I'll be fine. But I think it's going to be great. I'm really glad about that. And other than that, I think that's all the news fit to print right now. So I will say goodbye for now, and hopefully the next time you see me, it'll be to share a lot more stitching, at least where I've gotten to on my Let Love Rain. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is March 4th. It is Wednesday night. And I'm getting ready here to leave shortly to go to dinner with my husband, and then go to a new Bible study at a church I've been visiting, and wanted to get on here and record before it got too late. So that's what I'm here to do. Today's bingo number for me actually said that I needed to work on a monthly requirement. So I looked at my calendar I have down here with me, and I looked at what were the monthly requirements that I had posted, and I'd either already stitched some of them and those pieces are still upstairs, or I hadn't brought them down to work on. And it wound up being I had two choices. And one of the choices really appealed to me because I hadn't even considered doing it yet, but I had it down here with me, and that was a new start. I had for the month that I wanted to start Lucky, which was the most recent freebie pattern for the month of March from Primrose Cottage. And I wanted to stitch that as my St. Patrick's Day stitch for this year. And so this morning I pulled out my remnant of fabric that I've stitched 2 or 3 or 4 of them on over the years. And it is called Water Lily It's a 28 count water lily. So it makes it larger, which is perfect for pillows because these are cute little smalls. But here is mine. Let me put my pattern behind it so hopefully you can see what I'm showing you. Now you'll notice I did one thing different. I had these little yellow buttons left over from a previous pattern that I did for St. Patty's Day, and I decided to use them for the coins in the pot instead of stitching the coins in the pot. But I started this morning and I stitched on it enough for my bingo game and posted it, and then I just kept working on it because it was such a cute little piece. And so there you have Lucky, and it is with the buttons attached and everything and the two little sheep on there. I think it's precious. Anyway, it's finished. So I started and finished it today. It took 604 stitches for me to do this one. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It had very few colors in it. So it worked out really well and was a quick stitch. My friend Juliana came over and stitched with me today, and I had started it before she got here, and it turned out I got to finish it right before she left, which was wonderful. But we had a great day together and enjoyed stitching together, and we're planning on getting back together next Friday. Juliana is having a group of ladies over to her house to stitch, and she's invited me to join them, so I'm excited about that. So that's my start and finish for today. I don't know if I'll get to stitch any more this evening since I'm going to be out and about, but if I do, I'll come back and share it with you either later tonight or first thing in the morning. But this definitely more than met my bingo call, and it has now checked off another one of my monthly requirements. Yay! I feel really good about that. So even though I am limited to not going upstairs with my husband's help, I have been able to keep everything down here or get everything down here as I've needed it. And I've been able to keep stitching, and that has been wonderful to help take the time, pass the time as I recover. So tomorrow morning, get stitches out. I hope to be back to 100%. We shall see. Anyway, I'll come back and talk with you and let you know how things are going. In the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is the 5th of March, and I am here to talk to you a little bit about my stitching this morning for my bingo game. Today's call on bingo was for a Christmas whip. So I pulled out my Christmas piece, Santa with Ann and Ted. This is one, as you know, that I'm stitching for my friend Cheryl that collects the Raggedy Ann pieces. And it's interesting because today I called Cheryl to chat with her, and as we were chatting on the phone, I was stitching away on this piece. So I was working on her gift while I was talking with her, and she had no idea. I love it. But I actually put in 418 stitches while we were chatting away. And I'll show you what that got me. Look, I got her shirt completely stitched. Isn't that great? I love it. I love the fact that I was able to get that done. That's gone down into that next page. And but I thought that would be wonderful because that's just two colors. I did the outline there in the darker blue, that's the shading, and then I did the shirt itself. And so I got that done today. 418 stitches, that's great. And I need an S, I need several S's for my daily 30 acrostic. And so I'm going to take a picture of this today. And since I got over 300 stitches in it, I'm going to use it for one of my S's and go ahead and get that posted in that Facebook group. So that'll be wonderful. And then I think I'm going to pull back out either my 3 wise men that I need to get 500 stitches by the end of the month, or I'm going to pull back out my Let Love Rain and work on it a little bit more, because the closer I get to a finish, the more I want to stitch on it to make sure I get there. And I have quite a bit left. That border is just so stitch heavy. all those flowers, it takes a long time to get that done. And so this is March, and I want to have it finished and framed by June. So I'm putting some pressure on myself to do a little bit more on that than normal. So you may see that more often. I hope you're enjoying your crafting, and I hope I have more to share with you tomorrow. Happy stitching, everybody. Okay, recently I talked to you about this little desk stand that I was testing out. And I mentioned that this one I had taken with me to a stitching meetup at a library, and that it had worked pretty well, except this was too far out. And then I realized that with this slot in here, I could move it closer to the desk. So that's what I've done, and I find that it's quite comfortable now. And I thought I would show you that how it looks as you're stitching on it. It allows me to do the two-handed stitching that I like, and that also keeps me from having to hold a hoop or a Q-snap in my hand. I mentioned before that one of my disappointments in it, probably my only disappointment in this one, was that this little clamp was so narrow this way that my roller frame would barely fit in there, and it had a tendency, as it was holding it and I was stitching on it, that it would drop down if I didn't hold it up, like press it up against me or something. So I tried a Nerge hoop today. This came with a hoop, but it's not wrapped, and so I didn't want to use it. And I had this little tiny Patriotic stitch that I was started today, and I thought, I'm using this little tiny remnant. I'm going to put it in my small Nerge hoop and see how that works in here. And I am happy to report that it is perfect. It really does a good job in here. And so I'm stitching along and enjoying it. And I will show you how easy this is. If you need to cut your threads off, you just lift this up and cut it off. So I can reach under there and do what I need to do to cut those off. If I needed to push it further, I would have to pull this out a little bit so that it would go further, because it's hitting against the wood right here. But I can see under here just fine, so I'm okay with that. I like it closer to the desk because I keep some of my things on the desk. You know, I have my pattern here, I've got my scissors and my needle threader right up behind you on the desk. But like I said, I keep things on the desk that I'm working on, and I'm watching YouTube right in front of me. So this is a great setup for me, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to continue using it probably until I finish this piece today or tomorrow, depending on how much stitching time I am afforded. So I'm going to go back to working on it, and I just wanted to share it with you while I was using it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It's much later on March 6th. I'm almost ready to call it a night, but I wanted to come back and share with you what I was able to accomplish today in some of my stitching assignments. I also have a couple other things to share with you, and that's why I couldn't wait till tomorrow. Well, last night after I filmed what I had accomplished for all of my prompt stitching, I was sitting downstairs watching some TV with my husband, and my Let Love Rain was still there on the floor frame, and I just reached over and started working on it, and I wound up putting in these two little flies. I think they're little moths or something. And then I finished back over here, I finished this flower. So now both of my borders are done on the side all the way down. And I've counted out to make sure I'm going to have room for the final motifs all the way to the edge that I had counted properly. And so there are two little animals that are stacked on top of each other here. There is a potted plant here, centered under these. And then there's another one of these little pencil trees with the bird on it over here facing this direction, I believe. And it's going to be only one stitch away from the border, just like that one's only one stitch away from the border, which is actually more symmetrical than the original pattern. I don't know how I did that, but I like how it turned out. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I've been trying to put extra stitches in it when I can. As you know, I'm trying to finish it for our 50th wedding anniversary in June. And this is good. This is good progress. So I hope to work some more on that, maybe even later this month. So after stitching on that last night, when I got up this morning, I was able to take all my bandaging off, get showered and dressed, and I didn't have restrictions about steps anymore. And so I came up to my craft room. You see, I'm back. Yay! I was giddy just to be up here. It was so much fun just to be back in my craft room. And I've got most of my stitching supplies from downstairs that I took down to use back up here. I think I have one more trip to make to get them all up here. But my calendar's here with all my assignments. My journal is here where I count stitches and put in place. And I even have a book I record all of my floss tube videos in with everything I'm going to put in the description box. I'll write that down as I go editing through the video so I can list the project names that you're going to see. So I've even got that started for the next video that I'm working on. So that's good. It felt really good today to get caught up. One of the things I did when I got back up here is I looked at my list of whips and I realized that so far I had started 15 of my Patriotic stitches. So I got out my planning sheet, my spreadsheet from back in probably October, November sometime that I did all this, where I put out all my plans for the whole year. These are the categories I wanted to plan in, and these were what I had decided to do for each month. And I got it out and I looked and I said, oh wow, I've got some Patriotic stitching I need to look at, because I had put down the names of several, but I hadn't kitted all of them up. So I thought, I need to go look at that. So I grabbed everything I had, put in little bags, and then I counted them up. I didn't have enough. And it wasn't for a few minutes I realized that I needed to count each of the Curie Ibatakure little individual things that I'm going to start in there as well. But I don't like to start one of those until I've finished one. So I'm not sure I'm going to get that many of them started because I haven't finished the second one yet. So I regrouped a little bit and I pulled in some additional patterns, and I really like them. Some are really small and quick, and some are not. Some are fairly decent sized projects. But it was so much fun today to pull it out. And then I went into my fabric stash and I brought out all my scraps. And I just laid them all over my desk. And I thought, I'm going to try to use as many of these scraps as I can, rather than cut up pieces of fabric, that I could use for a big project. So this is one that I set aside today when I was pulling them out and putting them together, just because I could use this scrap of fabric and I wanted to use it and not waste it, not throw it away. It was a tiny little freebie, and it's called USA, and it's from the Trail Creek Farm. I have no idea who that is, where that came from. I got it in as a freebie. It came in a newsletter. It says this design may be reproduced for newsletters or handouts, but it's not to be sold. So it was a freebie that someone gave out, probably to the shops. Anyway, don't know if that has a date on it either. Yes, it does. Wow, 2004 from Trail Creek Farm. I don't even know if they're still around, but somehow this has been in my stash since 2004 and I've never stitched it. And it's such a simple piece. So tonight, it's only 3 colors. I pulled it out. This is the Trail Creek Farm, USA. Isn't that cute? Just as cute as it can be. I started it this afternoon, or late this morning after I kitted up several projects. And I finished it just a few seconds ago. And my husband and I have had dinner and we've walked Coco and all of that. But I just came back and got started on it again. And I did this one in color completion. I did the red first. And I did everything in red. And then I did blue. I did everything in blue. And then I did white. I did all the white together at the very end. So there's the Trail Creek Farm freebie called USA. And that is my 16th Patriotic piece so far this year. And that is my first Patriotic start and finish. But it's my first start for the month of March, which means I have to start another one sometime this month. So I don't know whether I'm going to take that with me. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be going to Stitch with Friends at a little retreat house. I could take one there because we're going to do 3 starts in 3 days. And I could take one and get it started. So I'm thinking I might do my second Patriotic start while I'm there. I'm planning on starting my piece for Carolyn Zook while I'm there. And then, I don't know. Oh, I think that we're all going to start a animal cracker while we're there. That was the other thing that I think we had all agreed to. And I have mine ready. I have it ready to go. And so that'll be good. Okay, now I just have to pick out which Patriotic start I want to take with me for one of my 3 starts, and then I'll know that I'll have it ready, for the month. But anyway. So speaking of Patriotic pieces, I have an FFO to share with you. A while back, I showed you the FO, and I had done it on an interesting fabric, but the frame that I picked out at Hobby Lobby is a little tiny frame, but the blue was perfect for it, and so this is Celebrate Freedom, and it fits in this little 4x4 frame perfectly. I love it. I think it's precious. It just sits on the table. So I'll be putting that with my 4th of July decor. I'm excited about that. And I'm thinking for this little tiny one that I just finished, this USA one here, that this might make a really cute Patriotic project bag zipper pull. I could make it into a little tiny pillow and put it on a cord and just attach it to a zipper pull. And I think that would be really precious to do. And I could use, the fabric that's here behind it to make it into the pillow. And so it would be, a cute little I'm just folding it up so you could get the size of it. I think it would make a precious little zipper pull, don't you? It's so small. Because otherwise, if you're really going to get it to be displayed, you would have to put it in a frame. And I don't think they make them this small. I mean, it would have to be a 3x3 probably, which, you know, they may have. I can look at Hobby Lobby. Anyway, wanted to share that FFO with you as well. Celebrate freedom. So I mentioned that I had a stitching friend coming tomorrow, and as far as I know, we're still on for that, and I'm excited about it. And then today I got a text from my husband while he was out walking Coco. He had gotten a phone call from a friend of his. They finalized plans to hike. They had been trying to figure out a time to go hiking just here in Georgia, just running over to one of their favorite hikes here in the North Georgia mountains. But they wanted to be gone for about 2 to 3 days. I think they're trying to do a little bit of preparation to get their bodies ready to go do another section of the Appalachian Trail coming up maybe in August. Anyway, his friend is excited that he can come, and he is coming up to spend the night here with Tommy and I Sunday night, and then they're going to leave out first thing bright and early Monday morning and drive over to where they're going to hike. And so we'll all have dinner together, and that'll be great fun. So I'm sitting there today thinking, wow, I need to go make sure my guest room is ready, and freshen up the guest bath and all of that. And then I get a phone call. In fact, I was on my way to pick up my friend Donna for lunch. We were going to grab a quick lunch together today while she was working. She doesn't usually take a lunch break, but she was wanting to get out a little bit today, and I thought it'd be great as well. And so on my way to her house to pick her up, I get a phone call from Michael's that my Rosie Rhapsody is ready to be picked up. So I picked up my friend Donna, and we're headed to lunch, and I tell her, guess what? I just got a phone call. So after lunch, when I drop you off at your house, I'm going to go back and get my Rosie Rhapsody. And she said, oh no, we're going to eat quick, and we're going to go get your Rosie Rhapsody together because I want to see it. And I said, okay, this is great. So we had a quick lunch. We ran and picked up Rosie Rhapsody, and when I got home with it, I had been thinking about where to put it, and I thought it would really look pretty in my dining room. I have green in my carpet in my dining room, like it's a rug under the table that has green in it. And my mom's china has green in it, and I thought, here it is. It's almost St. Patrick's Day, or spring Easter colors have green in them, and I have this new piece I want to put on the wall that's got a lot of green in it. So I hung it on the wall. I took down all my Valentine's decorations, redid my dining room table for a St. Patrick's Day look to go with the green. And then I pulled out all my St. Patty's Day stuff, and I don't have that much of it. So I put some in the guest room, and then I brought out all the Easter, and I swapped out my mantle and my guest room decor and my dining room. Those are the areas I really decorate. I don't do so much in the bedroom. It kind of stays the same. I do put Christmas in there usually because I have so much of it. I have plenty to go in there. So that tells me I need to keep working on some St. Patrick's Day things. And I just finished stitching one, but I don't have it fully finished yet. Maybe I could work on that the next day or two. But so I have St. Patty's Day and Easter decor out, and I thought, you guys, I know we're going to want to see Rosie Rhapsody, but it's better to see it on the wall than me sitting here trying to hold up this huge piece. So I'm going to insert a clip for you where I have tried to videotape Rosie Rhapsody and all the decor to show the season of St. Patty's Day, Easter, spring, coming down the road here. So I have more to do. I just realized that I have a winter piece hanging on the wall in the foyer, so I'm going to bring out my spring at Hawk Run Hollow and put that up there, and then I can have a little more Easter and spring decor. So hope you enjoy it. Well, I did some changing of my decor today, and I finally started putting out St. Patty's Day and Easter. I concentrated on St. Patty's Day here in the dining room, and I did that primarily because I got my new Rosie Rhapsody from the framers today, and it had the green tint and tones to it, so I decided I would decorate for my St. Patty's Day in here. Since they're only a couple of weeks apart from St. Patty's Day and Easter, I've got a lot of Easter in the living room, and my St. Patty's Day is in here. But you see, I have a bowl there in the middle, and I have 3 pillows. I have 3 pillows facing this way that are all St. Patty's Day, and then there's a little St. Patrick's Day owl. And I've got out my mom's china because it has green in it, green and tan, and so I've got my linen napkins out to go with it. And then I'm going to walk you around because I want to show you the picture on the wall. And you can see I took down my Christmas piece here just so I could get this one on the wall. But here is my Rosie Rhapsody in the frame that I had. I took it to Michael's and they popped it right in for me. You can see how sparkly that fabric is up close. And I just think it looks beautiful on the wall in here. Sorry for the glare. I can't seem to get the chandelier out of it. There we go. It looks kind of naked on the wall. It needs some things to go with it, but I think that'll be there for the majority of the year, and then I can put back my Christmas queen at Christmas. And then, I'm trying not to move too fast to keep you from getting motion sickness. On the back side of my little bowl of pillows is one more that goes the full length of the bowl, and so it kind of sits in there with it. And that's my St. Patty's Day look for my dining room with my new piece in a place of honor. So here's the entryway to the house. I've got my little spring pillows in there. Beautiful words to live by from Lizzie Kate. And then I got a little bunny there. She had a boy bunny that had a blue egg that I used to put out together on my mantle, and he didn't make it through the storage for the year. When I got him out today, his little ears were broken. So I decided she could stand there and guard the bowl, which would be great. And here's the mantle. It's very similar to what I've had in years past because I used the same Easter grass, and I've got my new piece up this year, the lamb. Let me get up here where you can see that one that I did last year. Have you any wool? And then, of course, you've seen Peep, and you've seen the Nora Corbett, and you've seen the, I'm not sure what that one's called, Bunny's Garden or something. I can't remember that one. It's been a few years since I stitched it, but I've got those up here with little bunny and chick. Combination that they're hanging out together, and that's the mantle. All right, so here in the guest room you can see I have a Jim Short Easter egg that's on a pedestal there, and then there is the lucky leprechaun that I stitched last year. Hadn't put him out, I don't think. Maybe by the back door last year on the shelf. Now let me head around. Oh, sorry, make you dizzy. I have an Easter egg tree, and then the world needs more chocolate bunnies over here. So my Easter egg tree is a combination of cross stitch I've done and different little Easter eggs. Each one is different. They have similar backing fabrics. There's 2 of them that I used, and they're held on by ribbons. And cute little chick. And then I have some pretty little eggs hanging from clear wire, so they just look like they're floating in the tree. And their ribbons match their colors. And in the past, I've had the tree one or the other. So this year I combined them. Just put them both on there. I hope our guest that's coming this weekend enjoys it.